Red Balloon's been around since 2001. The name came from a French movie, 1956 child's movie, which is a wonderful story of discovery. A little boy and his best friend was a balloon. And I wanted to start an online business, and you have to call a business something. And I was working from home, and I was looking for something that was disruptive, meaning that it was not evolutionary, it was revolutionary. In those days, many of the businesses coming online were natural progressions. You know, greengrocer.com, a great Australian success story, but you could still buy your milk up the road. So I was looking for something that hadn't been done before and probably couldn't be done without the internet. So all of these ideas were melding, and finally redballoon.com.au was born. Looking at the key points of growth, of when I had a sense of confidence that maybe this was really going to work, are interesting because they're things for different reasons. I always believed in the concept, but I didn't know when it was going to happen. And it was really the second Christmas when I thought, oh my goodness, this could really work. And, you know, in hindsight, I think we sold 200 vouchers, you know, which is just hilarious, really. The other thing is when I saw other people having faith in us and believing in us. So American Express called and said, we'd like you to be a part of our membership rewards. Well, that was a big vote of confidence that they were prepared to put our logo in front of their millions of members. When Optus called and said, we'd like you to run our length of service program. Fuji Xerox was actually the first company that called and said, you know, what's this thing that you've got which is Red Balloon? That could make a really good incentive program. So there was the companies that believed in us and started buying our product, and that gave us a sense of confidence and authority. You know, I think if, with high school students now, if they were to say what's going to be a high growth industry, I don't think we can see it yet. You know, who would have thought that Facebook would be what Facebook is? You know, only 6 years ago, you know, we'd hardly ever heard of such a thing. So for a high school student, their jobs have not yet been invented. Very hard for us to predict. But what I do believe is that there are many industries ripe for disruption, and big business has a big job to do in keeping their customers loyal and a level of intimacy. Very hard to do. As such, they're ripe for picking off in terms of smaller, sweeter, faster, however to market. The way I started Red Balloon is not the way I'd start a business now. I went to an external web developer, paid my $25,000, which was the total money that I had. It was before the days of social media. And in those days we had portal sites, so I think I paid my money to 9MSN, and there I was as a shopping tenant. And really, life has moved on from that in a massive and significant way. So how I'd launch a business now is completely different. For a start, there's a website called Wix.com where you can basically produce a website for $0 and customise and are creative. So that gives any business or any potential entrepreneur an opportunity to create a concept website that they could test and take to market without the massive investment. The website that we have now is enterprise level. You know, there's 156 servers with risk and backup in different countries and big pipes. The website we started with was in some ways a prototype, but it was a very expensive prototype. And now here we are on the 7th version of the website. So one thing I have learned, it's never ever finished. Dealing with criticism is interesting in the sense it does depend on the tone in which it's delivered. Because criticism can also be contribution. That is, I'm holding up the mirror and I'm showing you something that you don't see right now. And as such, I'm contributing to your growth. But if somebody's literally just wanting to rip strips off you, to rip you back to size, the only thing I say is they're entitled to their opinion. And I just walk away, you know, happy for them to have their opinion, but it doesn't mean I have to agree with them. Look, I know that, you know, some people would find me abrasive or loud or I laugh too much. My daughter says I laugh too much. She definitely says I laugh too loud. But, you know, it is who I am. I actually think my greatest critics are my children. And I'm trying to point out to them, Mummy's not perfect. Mummy's just human like everybody else. So, you know, criticism's great when it's constructive. And when I work with others, I know that in my heart I see them as bigger than they see themselves, and my job is to help them get out of their own way. Well, if I was to share with you my next big idea or the next thing, there might be a whole bunch of people rushing there before me. But what you can be assured is that you'll continue to see some really exciting and great developments and innovations from Red Balloon, many of which have been worked on for a long time. And I'm very excited to see those come to market.